Today in the studio I have the pleasure of speaking with country and western star Billy Payne. Born in West Virginia, Billy has had a love and interest of country and western spanning over 2 decades and has produced several critically acclaimed albums. So Billy, thanks very much for making your way over to Ireland here for us to talk to us today.
Thank you, Colin.
I want to start off, where did your love of country music come from? Were your parents listening to it? Can you recall your first interaction with the music?
Oh yeah, my mom and dad, they always listened to country music at home, and we had 3 channels that had different country music shows on them. And I guess the first big influence I ever had was Johnny Cash. They bought me a record when I was a kid in the 1st grade of Johnny Cash live at San Quentin. So that was kind of a hard album for a kid, but it really got a hold of me, And I'd say that's why I wanted to be a country singer. It goes back to that,
At what point did you decide that you wanted to pursue a career in music, and who supported that decision?
When I started playing in the clubs, it's something I always felt like I wanted to do, but I didn't actually know how to go about it, And but when I started playing in the clubs, I got the hunger for it more, because I had never really played in front of a live audience until 1990. I always played at home. I didn't really look at it as being a singer, star, or whatever. But I'd put a band together after the first couple of stints of bands I'd been in. And but in '98 I won Star Search, and that's why I kept pursuing. Ed McMahon's Star Search. It was the Traveling Star Search through Bruce Goodwin. And when that happened, I started getting offers, about different things. And I was going by a band name at the time, Sidewinder. And it was just something that I guess I just went after. I always was influenced, but I never knew I could do it professionally until I got into it,
And when you made that jump to solo artist, where did you get your material? Were you writing material on your own, and what influenced the songs that you were writing?
Well, I was writing a little bit, and I was trying to throw it out there, just as a test, see how people take to it. And but most of the songs that I got was cover tunes, but they weren't cover tunes that was on the radio so much. Like a singer's filler material, grab something I liked, off the album, and made it sound like something I had did, because I got so many compliments, people thinking, man, did you write that, And I wished I could have told them yes, but the thing it was really good songs that a lot of people don't normally hear, because back then they were buying singles a lot and wouldn't buy the album. But I'd always get the albums that I wanted, and I would pick songs off of them that I thought were really good audience things. And I wasn't playing anything really on radio except a few, and all the videos were coming out big time around then. And I wasn't doing a thing that was on television. I was doing my own show, and I stayed booked solid all the time like that. And that was locally. I was hitting every club, in my area, tri-state area, within 150, 200 miles. Staying pretty busy.
And it sounds like you really put the hours in with the grueling work to get to the stage where you're at now.
Yeah, actually, honestly, I was working more then than I am now. But the thing of it is that it got me, with the Star Search thing, got me a small independent label in Nashville to put my first album out. And they introduced my music all around the world, for 3 singles. And I hit 2 top 10 singles with, the No Limit on Love album, which No Limit on Love was my first single, and it went to number 9 on the independent country charts. And then a Chuck Berry song that I did in the clubs ended up being a number 8. And then I had a top 30 that was an original tune. I didn't write it, but it was something, I was the only one that recorded it. It just got to the point, that I was doing more of my stuff than it was anybody else's. Of course, cover tunes, none of us can get away from them, Everybody likes somebody. And so I just try to intertwine it with my stuff, and it got me writing more, you know. And but I've got a lot of songs I've never recorded, you know. You know, it's kind of like looking over them, you know. I was raised on the jukebox in a bar down the road. I listened to Waylon and Willie, to Haggard and Jones. I was always in trouble. I couldn't leave on my own. I was raised on the jukebox. The jukebox turns me on. It all started with a quarter. I chose 385. I could hear old Willie singing. You were always on my mind. It was one after the other. I'm in a haggard state of mind, swinging doors and a bar stool. I was born a running kind. I was raised on the jukebox in a bar down the road. It was Waylon and Willie. It was Haggard and Jones. I was always in trouble. I couldn't leave on my own. I was raised on the jukebox. The jukebox turned me on. It must be 4 in the morning. By the time I moved on, I could hear Jones singing, the race is on. You know I've always been crazy. I've known it all along. Give me one more shot of whiskey. It's another Waylon song. I was raised on the jukebox in a bar down the road. It was Waylon and Willie. It was Haggard and Jones. I was always in trouble. I couldn't leave on my own. I was raised on the jukebox. The jukebox turns me on.
You said how you got your first small independent label with Nashville. For an emerging artist, just how big a factor is getting your music in Nashville, because it has such an influence over the country and western genre?
What was really good about it, you know, the fight to have creative control, so to speak, had already been won, you know. And you know, not me, but before me. And I was able to express what I wanted to do. And I really think that that made it easy for me when it wasn't that easy for guys back in the old days. You know, like Waylon Jennings would, you know, he fought for the right to use his own band and stuff and have his own sound. Well, I've had the opportunity to actually be able to say what I wanted or how I'd like it. And I thought that was pretty neat, especially for somebody just coming in the studio first time in my life, you know, which was over 20 years ago. And to be able to just say, okay, I like that, but can we do it like this? And we did it, and it worked.
You're currently in Northern Ireland touring and promoting your latest album, Maverick Hillbilly. Can you tell us a wee bit about this album, the work that went into it, what inspired it, and how it differs from the work that came before it?
Maverick Hillbilly was conceived somewhere around the middle of last year, as far as figuring out what we would do with it. And Jerry Bridges and Barney Robertson both played for Waylon. And they decided it'd be a good idea to go back and grab some songs out of the country music catalog that weren't necessarily, you know, known very well, but there was a couple in there that, you know, that was. It just depends on who you were a fan of, you know. And so we went about that as a just an interpretation of just me getting the songs and making them sound like something that I wrote. And it's a big step from the last album I did, you know. And that was kind of done that way too. But some of the songs that I have done on Maverick Hillbilly, a lot of people didn't know anything about them, you know, because they were just selective cuts that I liked over the years that I would do in a concert or something like that. And of course, there's a couple of known songs, but it's a lot different than the last album. I had some originals on it that I didn't write them, but I think it made me what I was looking for, if that makes any sense,
So you're currently halfway through your tour of Northern Ireland of Maverick Hillbilly. So can you tell us about some of the shows you've played to date and some of the experiences and stories from your travels?
Well, the first little show I did was Stewart's Record Shop in Dungannon, and it was just like a little promotion show. And but I came here mainly for the Phil Mack Country Show at the Armagh City Hotel. And I had a great show. It was just something else, I've always wanted to be on that show and finally got to after a few years. So I've got a few little things going on, some interviews across town, some radio stations we talked about. And so that's what and it'll wrap up about on the 10th of this month because I'll leave on the 11th to go home. So.
And were you aware of Ireland's sort of rich history and heritage in country and Western music and our love for the genre? Is that something that's took you by surprise?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my friend Mervyn Noel, is my agent over here, and he and I have been friends for almost 16 years, and he sent me a lot of things about Ireland, and he also told me they like country music an awful lot, so I had to find my way over here sooner or later, It's great. I love it. The people are wonderful, and I don't know, it's a different feeling, People here are so loving, if I put it that way, and so appreciative of what you do. I mean, I have so many compliments threw at me just the other night, and it's overwhelming. It really is.
And on a personal note, what qualities do you look for in a song? You'd mentioned how you usually go with your gut on the first listen, but a few weeks later, your views of a tune can change. So what makes a tune stand out for you, and what kind of qualities do you try and put into your own music?
Well, first of all, I like to be a all ages singer, as far as I don't want to do anything that children can't listen to, and but at the same time, the quality of what I do and how I do it, I feel like it's got to be good to start with before I even jump on it. And at the same time, I have to live with it, what I do. That's why I'm so selective about it, because if you don't like what song you do and you get a hit out of it, you're going to sing it the rest of your life, And I don't want to have to be stuck in the position of some of the singers have told me that if you cut it and it comes out a hit and you don't like it, you're going to sing it from now on whether you like it or not. So, that's one of the things that I try to take in from other people in the business, and learn how to find out about a song, go over it inside and out, and if it fit me. I mean, it's another thing. You just can't do a song just because you like it. If it doesn't fit you, there's no sense in doing it, And I've been putting in different genres of music, as far as country western, traditional. They got so many names now, now they say I'm an outlaw singer. Well, I probably am, as much as I like to do it my own way, And, but I'm just a guy that likes great music. I like to write, and I like cutting my own material. I want to cut more of it, And I talked myself into it. I'll probably do another original album before long, so,
Here I sit by myself with a bottle in my hand. I don't think I can drink it all, but I'll do the best I can. Sitting here with memories of everything I done wrong. So when I get down to the bottom, she'll be long, long gone. didn't say the things I should. I never told her that. She didn't deserve what I did that hurt her oh so bad. And I'm sitting here with memories of everything I done wrong. So when I get down to the bottom, she'll be long, long gone. Hey, when I get down to the bottom, she'll be long gone. She'll be on her way to a place where she belongs. I poured out everything inside. I can't change things I've done. And I'm getting to the bottom, and she's long, long gone. This time I get acquainted with this new friend of mine. Jack doesn't want anything, just to spend some time. Lord, I'm staring at the bottom. It's like a sad old country song. Now I'm finally at the bottom, and she's long, long gone. Hey, when I get down to the bottom, she'll be long gone. She'll be on her way to a place where she belongs. I poured out everything inside. I can't change things I've done. I'm finally at the bottom, and she's long, long gone.
Music in country western is very much a form of storytelling. When it comes to your music and working with original songwriters as well, do you want the message or the story of the music to come across very easily to the listener, or do you prefer it when the listener has to play the record multiple times and make their own assumptions of maybe what the musician's trying to say?
Well, if you have to make the audience figure it out, then you ought not sing it. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, I want the story that I tell in the song to be really easy to understand. That's how I like it, and it's and I like to tell a story about a real life experience or whatever. Country music to me, if you don't put the story in the song, then you've lost it. That's about the only way I can put it, You don't want to let them jump off to the side here and say, well, I really liked what he's talking about, but before the song was over, I lost it completely, and I don't want to do that. I want to stay in the story,
And do you find that it's important to make your songs relatable to your audience, where they can have a listen to it and go, oh, that's happened to me, or that's happened to a friend? Or does that help when it comes to creating an audience and interest in your music?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I've wrote the songs I've wrote, it's like I've seen so many things in clubs that I've wrote about. But also what happens in private life, you write about growing up, or what you see our family members. I think it's important because I'd say about 100% of the people, live their life almost the same as we do. Everybody's got different problems and stuff like that, but you got to let them relate, because if you haven't grabbed somebody on a show out in the audience that they haven't done what you're singing about, I think you're in a lot of trouble, because you can't sing to somebody on things they don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I wouldn't be able to understand it,
You're a self-proclaimed outlaw, so you've had such an infatuation and love of country music. Do you think you're any closer to understanding what the essence of country music is, or is it something that maybe is unattainable?
Well, I don't know, it's like, I guess I got thrown in the category I'm in too, because of who I record with and who I've toured with. You know, I've been very fortunate to be able to record my albums, the last 4 anyway, or 5, with Waylon Jennings' band, you know. And they're good friends, and, you know, and they helped me find my sound. You know, we didn't grab anybody else's or anything like that. We got my sound working out there. And that was one of the things that Jerry Bridges has taught me as being, you know, producer, that you have to be you to start with. Same thing Waylon told me a long time ago. And that's how you become who you are. Because you're on the stage telling everybody about your life. It's got to be interesting too, you know. So.
And I'm interested, you mentioned there about finding your sound, that you've performed a few tracks for us here in the studio. How does what you've performed differ from what people can expect from your typical live show?
I think some ways. I think when I do something completely by myself, you know, I'm not really laid back, but when I do a show, I'm more laid back in front of a crowd. But it seems like just the one-on-one thing is a little bit harder for me. I don't know why. Maybe it's backward, but also it lets me be intimate, you know, because one thing I have always done, I've never shied away from doing a small thing or big thing. And I found that doing the small things, I mean, I've played many people as 1 or 2. It taught me how to be able to sing whether there's anybody there or not. To feel comfortable about it, you know, because I think it's important. Because if you're a singer that feels that you got to have a crowd out in front of you every time you do something, and all of a sudden you're doing a show and there's nobody there but a couple of people, well, that'll show on you if you let it, you know. But if you're used to doing that kind of thing, I think you're a lot better off. You know, at times, you know, I've never been really nervous about playing. I've been nervous about the sound or something like that, you know. But when it comes to walking out on stage, you know, it'll shake you up sometimes if you don't do it in a way to make you, you know, if I'm making any sense, I'm not trying to ramble about it. It's just that I like to walk out on stage and not expect the best of anything. Just give it my all and do it, you know, because I don't think I need it through at me in the sense that I have to have 1,000 people in front of me when I can do it for one, you know, because they're just as important, you know.
So you're going to round off the show this evening with a performance, so can you tell us a bit about the song that you're going to play for us to finish up?
Well, I wrote a song about Nashville, and it kind of tells the story of how things changed, you know, over the years. Just my interpretation of how I feel about it in the music.
Well, Billy, it's been great having you in the studio today, and wish you all the best with your album and any future endeavours, and thanks again for giving us your time and speaking to us and performing for us today.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. It was good being here.
I've been coming here now for several years. All the street signs are the same, but nothing's here. The buildings I remember all are gone, and in the distance I don't hear a country song. The Ryman's just a place when they want to change, and the Grand Ole Opry House just ain't the same. The legends are almost gone, and all we hear are pop songs, and Nashville ain't the same anymore. Nashville ain't the same anymore. Music Row rode up the street and closed its door. Opryland is gone, all they have now is a mall, and Nashville ain't the same anymore. I drive by some of the places where I've been. They closed down the Nashville Palace and built a new one instead. Well, it's a crying shame, only memories remain. Lord, ain't it strange, nobody says a thing. The Nashville ain't the same anymore. Music Row rolled up the street and closed its door. Opryland is gone, and all they have now is a mall. And Nashville ain't the same anymore. They tore down the Hall of Fame, built a new one, but it ain't the same. And Nashville ain't the same anymore. Without old Waylon and Johnny Cash, Music City has lost its class. And Nashville ain't the same anymore. Oh, Nashville ain't the same anymore.